ship of fools. Sail away across the water, set the pace, then discover every ocean, every sea. Forever and a day for you and me. Look around here, wasted on a ship of fools. Take my hand, just remember, you don't have to surrender to the ocean.
Welcome to our Kadey Krogen 38 Hot Chocolate. We thought it was time to put together a boat tour for you and give you a bit more information about our little home on the water. Hot Chocolate is a 38-foot bluewater sailboat designed by Kadey Krogen Yachts. Although the company made trawlers, and still do today, Krogen was a sailor at heart. Before he retired, he designed his dream sailboat for him and his family to sail the Caribbean in. The Kadey Krogen 38 was meant to be a one-off, but it became so popular that they made 85 of them in total. Most are in America, and there are only 2 we know of here in Europe.
The Kadey Krogen 38 is made from thick GRP, and most are cutter-rigged. They have a great reputation as sturdy offshore blue water cruisers, along with having some unusual perks. Hot Chocolate herself draws only 1 metre, with a centreboard that you can drop to help her performance to windward, and an aftboard to help with weather helm. The centreboard can be raised and lowered using a winch in the forward section of the cockpit. The aftboard can be controlled using a cable right from the helmsman's seat. The shallow draft has given us a lot more freedom throughout the season, allowing us to get right into shallow anchorages and out of the wind and swell.
She has a bowsprit, which means we have room for bigger foresails, giving this heavy-laid boat more power under sail. We have 2 anchors, both 15-kilo deltas, that hang off the bowsprit. We've found a real need for something heavier as we anchor out so often, so we're hoping to upgrade when we've saved enough.
The old windlass broke beyond repair soon after we bought the boat, so we upgraded to a 1500-watt Lofren's Tigris. It's probably a bit overspecified for the boat, but at least we know it can take a beating. You can see the installation of this in a previous episode, but it involved repositioning it so that the chain falls directly into the anchor locker below. So far, this windlass has been absolutely incredible. It's powerful and very simple to use, and the new position has entirely solved the problem of chain getting tangled up in the locker. At the bow of the boat, we have 2 sails, a genoa that runs to the end of the bowsprit and a staysail just behind it. The staysail is self-tacking, which has made life a lot easier for us as newbie sailors. At first, we didn't really get on with the cutter rig. We'd learnt to sail on a sloop, and it took a while to get used to tacking the genoa past the inner stay without losing all of our speed. We're slowly discovering the benefits though, and we love that we can just fly the self-tacking stay in higher winds, or pull it out and gull wing on the genoa and staysail for stress-free downwind sailing.
The mainsail on Hot Chocolate had just been replaced by the previous owners, and is in amazing condition. The mainsail is best raised and lowered from the winch at the mast, but it is possible to raise it from the cockpit, which is much better in heavier weather. The mainsail only has 2 reefs in it, which has been okay so far, but we'll want to add a 3rd reef before we do any longer passages. It's an aft cockpit boat. When we were searching for a boat, we wanted a centre cockpit, as they felt a bit safer and more enclosed, but when we came aboard Hot Chocolate, we didn't actually feel it was a problem. The cockpit still feels very enclosed, which is nice in heavier seas, but it's also big enough to entertain. We love the wide seats, and we often use them as beds in the summer when it gets too hot below. Underneath the seats there are huge lockers. We use them for storing all the lines, a spare anchor, and we can even fit in 2 folding bikes.
Shortly after getting the boat, we decided to fit an autopilot system in the form of a Raymarine EV400.
We got autopilot!
It was probably the single most expensive thing after the boat herself, but it's been worth every single penny. We integrated the user interface into our existing binnacle alongside the wind and depth instruments, so you can engage the autopilot and set a course without leaving the helmsman's seat. The rudder and tiller arrangement on Hot Chocolate is absolutely bulletproof. Where many yachts have comparatively fragile hydraulic or cable systems, Hot Chocolate uses a directly coupled rack and pinion arrangement like you might see on a heavy goods lorry. It's made out of solid brass with teeth nearly an inch tall, Combined with our pocketed rudder, which is well protected from all sides by the long keel, skeg and skeg struts, losing steerage is fairly low down our list of likely disaster scenarios.
This boat is really well set up for single handing. You can do everything from the cockpit except reef the mainsail and take it down, as all the lines lead back to here. Our dinghy came with the boat, and although we joke a lot about how grotty it is, it's done us proud this season. It's a ribeye with a hard bottom, which means we can drag it up beaches without worrying too much, and it's big enough to easily fit 4 people or a lot of shopping. It just about fits on the coach roof for passengers. In our hunt for the perfect boat, we got really caught up in the technical details. We didn't consider the fact that we needed a safe and seaworthy boat and somewhere we could live comfortably. Hot Chocolate is the first house Adam and I have bought together, and we're so thankful that she's not just an incredible sailboat, but also a warm and welcoming home.
Keeps me up through the night. We'll leave it all. Wide awake, I hear you call.
So the first thing you come into in the boat is the galley. It looks quite small, but it's actually a pretty good size for us. We quite like it. Double sink is very useful, so we just wash up in here and then we can leave the stuff to dry in here. We don't have to get it all away really quickly. Cooker, see, on a gimbal, which is very handy. It's got lots of like handy space saving features. Like this, more worktop, and these, which are cool if you want to do some extra prepping. These all slide out. There's lots of cupboards, so we've got all our food, we've got coffees, teas, stuff. We've got a massive double fridge, so it goes all the way around the corner. It was 2, but we could never reach this one. It's like really annoying around the stairs, so we opened it up and now we can fit things like longer term fridge storage around the corner, and it makes a massive fridge, which is really handy. I fitted a new tap, which I'm very proud of. That's my plumbing skills for you. It's a bit of a horrible leaky tap, so we've fitted a new one and it doesn't leak anymore.
This is our patch panel here on Hot Chocolate, which is one of the nicest parts of the boat for you engineering geeks out there. It's been done in an absolutely gorgeous way. There's labels everywhere from a guy called Craig, including our engine room is labelled Craig's Hole. So Craig, if you're ever watching this, you're a legend. You did a brilliant job.
This is our bedroom. It's not really a cabin because it's just in the whole boat. But it's got a nice double bed, which is really lovely. It's got really good storage, big double wardrobe in here, and a little vanity cupboard with a mirror and stuff, and then lots of cupboards down here and drawers under the bed. So it's actually really cosy. You can slide this door closed. And then you can put a curtain up around here, so it's all private if you need it to be, but most of the time it's just me and Adam, so it's actually nice to have the space, the air, especially when it's been so hot.
One of the things we really loved about the Kadey Krogen was that they were all so unique. So on a lot of them, as Emily was saying, there's a wall here, and something we don't have but we read about and loved is that they have a huge mirror on the wall which flips out like that, and the back side of it is a chart table, so you can perch on the bed and it flips down here and you can read your charts and do your thing from here.
So the cockpit's just out there, so if we're on a night passage, I can sleep in here, or Adam can sleep down here, and we've just got a little chatting window there, or a little viewing window, so if I wake up in the night and have a panic that Adam's, I don't know, gone overboard because he's not clipped himself in, then I can just look out the window, check he's there, and that's quite nice. I did wake up though once. I think Adam must have come down to make me a cup of tea to wake me up. It must have been around that time. And I woke up really dazed, got out of bed, looked out the window and he wasn't there. And I was like, oh, where is he? So I got up and looked outside and he wasn't there, and I really panicked. I really thought that was it, and he was just in the toilet. That was fine. But I had such a panic. It was horrible. So it's quite a good little chatty hole. I like it.
This might be really normal if you've been around boats forever, but I'd never seen one of these before. Normally, for checking your fuel and water levels, you have an electronic sender that either measures the depth in the tank using resistance along a rod, or it's got a float that goes up and down with the level of the liquid and allows you to see how much is in there. We have this bad boy, the tank tender. Tank tender apparently works by, you press one of the buttons, pump it, and it pumps all the substrate out of the pipe until the amount of pressure in the pipe is equal with the level of the liquid, and then it rests at that point. So it's like a hydraulic tank measurement system. We don't think it works. But very cool nonetheless.
This is where we spend most of our time on the boat. It's really cosy in here. I think all the dark wood makes it really... It's nice in the winter, especially when you can get the mood lighting on and it's really cosy and warm. So it's quite good for entertaining. The table flips out. Right, so you've got a good double table there, and then there's a piece of table that goes around the mast, and then this flips out too. So you can have a table all the way around here. You can seat, I don't know how many people. We haven't had that many guests. We don't have any friends.
What's the record so far? Is it 9 people or something? 8 people?
Yeah, I think 8 people. So we've had 8 people around here, but we were pretty drunk, so I don't know.
There was only 4 of them. We were just seeing double.
We've got loads of storage along here. We've got all our tools, which we've moved around a million times because we have to get to them really easily, and everywhere we put them didn't seem convenient enough. So they're now in here, which I think Adam's happy with. Are you happy?
Reasonably.
Adam would like them to just be like organised on the sofa, I think, so you could just see them all the time, but we're not having that. There's storage underneath the seats as well. We really want to upgrade. We need some nice cushion covers, and we need some nice... This upholstery isn't very lovely, although it's very durable, which is great. Someone spilt red wine on it and it just wiped straight off. It's not very pretty.
It's made from the same stuff that the seats in trains are.
So yeah, it's not. It's very utilitarian. Is that the right word?
It is. She's got some pretty funky old equipment here. This is a SSB, I think the name is. A long-range radio that we haven't yet learnt how to use. Apparently takes another license and another training course. So that's one for the future. We've got this crazy old data marine for all the controls at the helm. So from here we should be able to see our speed through the water, our total miles travelled, all that kind of stuff. The idea being if it's heavy weather you can come below and figure out where you are. We've got an ancient Navtex that when you turn it on just displays a load of garbled symbols that don't seem to mean anything, so one day we'll troubleshoot that. But it's quite nice having all the history here.
This is where the chart table is really. So you pop out the table and then you can hold all your stuff in. These come out and fit in like this. So that when the boat's rocking around all over the place, all your charts don't go flying because they're tucked into this.
But we use them for holding Scrabble letters. Because they're perfect Scrabble holders.
They're great for Scrabble. This is where Adam works from as well, which is a good workspace.
This is the office. The table also drops down and that converts into another double berth.
Yeah, this can be a big double bed here.
This is where the control cable for the centerboard comes through. Because she was built in Taiwan, a lot of the details have a sort of faintly Eastern styling to them. So instead of just using a hollow cylinder of wood to route the cable, instead they decided to make it look like bamboo, which is quite a nice little nod to the fact that she was built in the Far East. And the centerboard itself lives inside here.
This is the forward cabin. We mostly use it as a storage room, but it is the guest bedroom. We haven't actually tried sleeping in it yet, so I don't know how comfy it is. It's got, the whole thing is just a massive V berth, And there's a bit of wood that goes in here so that you can turn it into a bigger bed, like a proper double bed. It's got its own sink and mirror and stuff, which is nice.
There's also a switch that soaks the bed in salt water, which is very useful.
We put the hose outside now, but when we first got this boat, the hose was inside the anchor locker, and little known
switch.
to us, this switch to turn
For
it
the
on
salt
is
water
here.
washdown is just
So
there.
if you switch this with your leg, if you're heeling, I walked past it like this, switch the switch with my leg. I was having a nice chat to someone in the galley, turned around and there was just water pouring through that cupboard in the forward hatch. So I absolutely panicked that there was a hole in the boat, but it was in fact just that I had switched on the saltwater washdown, which was not very clever of me. And our friend's stuff got completely soaked and he couldn't sleep in the bed for the rest of the trip. This door is the bathroom.
Or as we sailors like to call it, the head.
The head. Toilet. Pump it like this. So that's a good workout because it's quite stiff. It's probably broken, but I've pulled the toilet apart twice now and I can't find anything wrong with it. And we've got our own shower cubicle, which is so nice. We don't wet the
Dedicated
bathroom.
shower.
The bathroom doesn't get wet every time we want to have a shower, which is really nice.
So this is Hot Chocolate's engine, which is a Westerbeek 46. We were a little bit nervous about them because they're American engines and can be quite hard to get the parts for. But they've got a great reputation, and so far, touch wood, it's absolutely done us proud. It's got 6,500 hours on the clock and it's still just purring like a kitten. We're going to take some time this winter to really learn it and make sure we're on top of all the maintenance we should be doing, replace some of the old hoses, that kind of stuff. But on a 38-foot sailboat, nearly 50 horses is lovely to have. You know, we've really got some power under the hood. So yeah, we've loved this engine so far. There are reports of them running to 20,000-30,000 hours, so hopefully 6,500 hours is mature, not ancient. It is a bit of a source of worry for us, but yeah, so far it's done great, and the previous owners were incredible at keeping spares on board. So we've got 5 of everything that goes on this engine. We should name her really, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we'll call her Engine.
Engine. We'll call her Westerbeek 46. It's quite unusual to have the engine underneath the aft bunk. Ordinarily it would be further astern, so we had a close call when we were getting lifted out, where they put the strops where they would expect the engine to be and nearly dropped the boat, which was good fun.
So something we've really enjoyed about Hot Chocolate is all the old paperwork that was on board when we bought her. We've just loved looking through it all. There's all these old technical drawings, there's letters between all the previous owners, all the old logbooks. So we've spent several hours, I think, in total just looking through everything and enjoying all the old history of it. And here you can see like all the actual drawings of obviously before when the boat was made. It's just crazy that this is the plan of the boat. There's drawings for everything, the engine and underneath, like there's all these technical drawings here, and it's all written in English and in what we guess is Taiwanese. So it's obviously just for them to use to build it.
Thanks for watching, and hopefully that's given you a little bit of an insight into our little sailboat home. If there's anything more you'd like to know, then drop us a comment below and we'll be happy to answer. And if you want to see Hot Chocolate in action, then there are lots of previous episodes you can check out. Make sure you subscribe to be notified about our newest videos.
We're ending on a sentimental note after we received a rather special email. Watch on to find out more. We're getting a bit emotional here on Hot Chocolate because we've just got an email from someone who's found our blog, and she's the daughter of a couple who used to own Hot Chocolate and actually lived on her and sold her all over the Caribbean and America, and she's just sent us a huge email with all the details of their time on Hot Chocolate and how much Hot Chocolate meant to the family, and I've had a little cry. But it's really lovely, so I was just going to say a little bit of the history of Hot Chocolate that we've just found out. So Mike and Cherry bought her in 1998, in Pensacola in the Gulf of Mexico. And then their maiden voyage was 300 miles to Tarpon Springs in Florida. And she says the boat was completely empty when they bought it, no tools, spares or kit of any sort, and they had spent a long time looking at boats and particularly loved the lifting keel. In their first year, Mike and Cherry sailed Hot Chocolate to West Key, Miami, and to the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos, and then kept her in the Bahamas, living life to the full, mostly at anchor. Like yourselves, they never wanted to shell out for marinas, etc. For 4 years they lived on her, but sailed her back to the USA every year for the hurricane season, leaving her in the Chesapeake area, while they spent a few months back in the Lake District. And she said she spent some heavenly time on her around the Abaco Island area. In 2003, Mike sailed Hot Chocolate solo back from Bahamas and spent a month refitting her near Cape Canaveral.
Cape Canaveral.
That's it. Before 2 crew joined him in Melbourne, Florida, to sail to Portugal via Bermuda and the Azores. And Mike left. Adam's just been trawling through for about 2 hours. Mike left a painting of Hot Chocolate on the harbour wall in Horta. So Adam was going through all the photos that he could find to see if he could find the one of Hot Chocolate. He celebrated his 70th birthday mid-Atlantic. How cool is that?
Very cool.
And then they kept Hot Chocolate in Portugal until selling her in 2006 to the people that we bought her off of. And she says here that Cherry actually regretted selling the boat after a while and contacted the owners to let them know if they ever sold her, that she would want it back. But I think, yeah, by the time they actually sold it, it probably didn't. But yeah, it's quite amazing really that that we've had that little bit of history of the boat, and to know that this couple lived on her just like we're doing, and she says they're really adventurous, and they did all sorts. They took their 3 tiny kids to live in outer Fiji Islands, to go and work there, and they loved to ski, travel and sail, and passed it down to their children and grandchildren. And the lady who has contacted us sails herself and did a lot of sailing, and 2 of her sons still sail now, one of them even in Greece right now. So it's just crazy. It's really, really exciting to know that she was lived on and loved before us, I suppose.
I think she summed it up with Hot Chocolate's a boat with a lot of soul or something.
Yeah, she said, I hope you'll both enjoy Hot Chocolate for many years to come, but if you ever do put her on the market, let us know. One of the family might like to buy her, maybe even me one day. She's a boat with a lot of soul.
And that's very true.
Yeah. And then she signed up as a patron and said, can you do me a favour and buy a couple of beers, ouzo, whatever, and raise a toast to Mike and Cherry on Hot Chocolate, which is making me well up again. It's just really, really lovely to know that maybe we can continue this adventure for them on Hot Chocolate. So thank you so much for reaching out to us. It's just amazing to hear everything.
We've read it about 5 times, haven't we?
We keep reading it.
It's such a lovely email.
Yeah.
Especially because we'd so enjoyed having all the history and paperwork on board.
Yeah, we've read so that
Sounding like massive nerds,
couple
but
that used to own it. There's old logbooks and there's letters, and we've read them all and sort of imagined who this person was, and now we finally know.
yeah, very cool.
Yeah, very cool. So, thank you.